Welcome to a Whiskey Thing. My name is Marcel. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, it's the end of 2025. Today, the night that I'm recording, is actually December 31st, the last night of 2025. I realize that I'm going to be uploading this late, but yeah, that's okay. I had other things. I had future videos and projects to plan, and 2026 to get ready for. So I got a little distracted. So, but that's okay. But in this video, I am wanting to take you through my top 5 whiskeys of 2025. My top 5 whiskeys of the year of my first year on my whiskey journey. And by whiskey journey, I do mean actually exploring whiskeys from around the world, studying whiskey, spending a lot of my spare money and spare time on whiskey, bottles of whiskey, whiskey books, anything really whiskey. Watching documentaries, being part of whiskey communities on social media and that sort of thing. Just trying to basically indulge and consume as much whiskey related and whiskey, I guess, consume as much whiskey as possible, but that doesn't necessarily mean the liquid itself. I'm talking about consuming whiskey knowledge and whiskey experience, and it has been such an immersive and wonderful experience. There is way more to whiskey than I ever thought there was. I've learned so much. I learned that countries make whiskey that I didn't even know distilled, or well, like I know that the rest of the world, everywhere in the world, has their own drinks, their own, I guess, their own spirits, their own distilled or fermented beverages, if you will. But for me, the thing with whiskey is that it doesn't matter where on the world you are. If you can grow grain, you can make whiskey, and whiskey brings the world together in a way, in that sort of a sense. But in my while showing off my top 5 whiskeys of the year, I'm also going to I want to explain what whiskey means to me, what I think of whiskey, how my views and understanding of whiskey have changed from back prior 7 years ago and before. So between 16 and 26, I just drank to get drunk. I liked whiskey. I loved whiskey at that time. A little too much, and also I never explored outside of just a $20 bottle of Alberta Premium. Is cheap, gets you drunk, it tastes good. Yeah, that's all it was to me. But then at the beginning of the year, I actually dove right in, got back into, I guess not really back into alcohol. I developed a healthy relationship with alcohol, and it's been a learning experience. That's for sure. Whiskey is more than just a spirit. It's more than just alcohol. It's more than just something that is used as a social catalyst. It's more than just an escape for your problems. Whiskey is time. It's patience. It is science and creation, innovative biological reactions, community. In some places, it is a sense of being. It is a sense of the community of who they are. Whiskey is also complexity. There's so much complexity and nuance, and there's so much that you can do with whiskey. Vodka, you can flavor it with stuff, but generally with whiskey, there is no flavoring. There's no additives. there is no manipulation of flavors. It is how the whiskey had got transformed in the cask, and how the choices that were made during production, during the whole entire whiskey process, the whole entire journey that the whiskey takes from grain to cask to your glass, all has such a transformative experience. And a lot of the choices that are made throughout that whole entire transformative experience will manipulate the end result. And it always amazes me that how diverse and different whiskeys can be, even if it's made from the same grain. Two distilleries that share the same water source the exact same grain from the same maltsters or wherever. If they don't grow their own grain and malt it themselves, have similar stills. Well, actually, no, they can even use the same still. It's all of the choices that they make during the process, and even the finish, is all of those choices that can cause those two whiskeys that share very similar ingredients, the basic similarities, can produce such wildly different things, such wildly different whiskeys. It's quite remarkable, really. It really is, to see and just the more I learn, the more I study, the more I have an understanding of not only how it works and why whiskey is expensive and all of these other things, but that people who go, oh, toffees and berries and there's fruit and this and that and all of these things, those, they actually exist. They are chemical compounds within the whiskeys. And it's been a year. It's been quite the year. I'm not going to get into where flavors come from. That is going to be one of the videos of 2026. One of my early videos, early 2026. It's going to be where flavors come from in whiskeys. And I'm going to expand on those choices that I was talking about. I'm going to kind of expand in detail on those. It's probably going to become a multi-part series sort of a thing. I could probably keep going on and on and on about how I feel about whiskey and what whiskey means to me, and on a personal level, and where my passion comes from, and that didn't really explain where my passion comes from. I honestly don't really know that still yet. But without further ado, oh, maybe that's been. Do you like my decanter? Do you like my globe decanter? Do you like it? You like it? You like it? Fiance got it for me. It's pretty fancy. And it actually, one of my top 5 whiskeys is in it. It's not necessarily my top one, my number one, but because I don't have favorites. I don't have favorites. I can't say what my favorite song is, what my favorite food is, what my favorite whiskey is, what my favorite anything is. I can't say it, because there's just, depends my mood. It depends what I'm doing. It depends on what part of the day it is. It depends on the environment that I'm in, which will kind of change my answer, determine my answer. So I don't have a favorite anything. Everything is my favorite. And as I go through them, my top 5 whiskeys, as I go through them, it's not necessarily in the order of, number 5, number 4, number 3, number 2, and my absolute favorite number 1 whiskey of 2020. No. I'm doing it in, as you would a tasting, I'm doing them in like proper tasting order, by percentage and intensity, I guess you would say. And one of them does have mild smokiness, but it's pretty much at the end. So As you know, in a tasting, you would save anything that is a smoky character or is really bold, strong, and overpowering. That would overpower all of the other ones, and that would stick in your nose and ruin the experience of all of the other ones. That's the one that you save for last. But top five. We're going to start with the Brenne French single malt whiskey. I actually did a video on this. It was one of my first videos. I think it was my second video. Was actually on this. So if you want a little bit more in-depth information about this one, you can go watch my second video. I will put a link in the description if you would like to take a gander at that. Go on the nose, right immediately berries, kind of a berries and cream, but also has pastries, so it's sort of a blueberry Danish is the first thing that pops into my head. Danishes are also one of my favorite pastries. Blueberry Danish comes in there. It has a very subtle undertones of apple and cinnamon. So, and then with that with the pastriness of it, it's almost like an apple pie, like a blueberry apple pie. So wonderful on the nose. It's just your berry Danish, berries and cream, apple pie. Sort of sweet hard candy, like hard candy sweet. On the palate, apricots, pitted fruits, the apricots and peaches, some apple, but it's more of a fresh apple. Slight oaky undertone. There's an oaky undertone underneath all of what I had just said on the palate. There's oaky undertone in there. Next up, we have Nika Whiskies Taketsuru Pure Malt. It's a Japanese whiskey. Yeah, actually, my top five. It's one of them is from a different country. Well, the Taketsuru Pure Malt by Nika Whiskey is named after and in honor of Masataka Taketsuru, who is considered the father or one of the fathers of Japanese whiskey. Did a review on this one, so if you want a little bit more in depth on this one, go check out that one. I will put a link in the description for this one as well. Bless the exact and actual fuck out of me. My apologies. Aged in New American Oak, ex-bourbon, and ex-PX sherry casks. This whiskey is absolutely wonderful. It just continue. It is an experience. If you're looking for something that is an experience that just continues to unfold and develop and build complexity as it sits in your glass, because typically give yourself a pour and then let it sit for 20 minutes and let it sit and oxidize in the glass, and then that's an optimal drink of whiskey. It's smoky leather and tobacco with figs and date syrup. A tiny hint of apple and pears. It's fruity, it's floral, it's got just a subtle of smokiness. Such slight, very subtle peat. Nika Whiskey they actually source their barley from Scotland. Scottish barley. Makes sense, right? Not all, not all Scottish barley is peated, but I believe Yoichi Distillery does make a lightly peated whiskey. So I think that's where that's coming from. Not 100% sure, but I do believe that that is where it's coming from. Just continues. Now unlocking baking spices, cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, that sort of thing. It's mm, yeah, that light little of smokiness is there. It's malty, kind of like honey drizzled. I would say almond oatmeal crisp. That sort of a cereal, like sort of an almondy muesli, what however you properly pronounce it. Sort of a cereal, that sort of a cereal, but like honey drizzled almond version of that kind of a cereal. And dark dried fruits. It just keeps going. The finish is it's got a I call it a long finish. The burn doesn't the like the ethanol that doesn't last. That doesn't like the burn doesn't stay, but the flavor does, and it transforms. It transforms with oxygen. Transforms with the air. Just to cleanse the palate in between each one. I don't have any crackers. Well, I do. I have these Skyflakes, but they're the chocolate ones. That would pair good with a couple of these, but as a palate cleanser, it's not gonna fucking work. It's not gonna cut it. Just like the regular ones. Are you ready for the next one? Are you ready? Huh? You ready? Good, because I am too. Next up is Penderyn Rhiannon. Single malt Welsh whiskey. I didn't even know that Wales made whiskey. I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's in the UK. It's near Scotland. Why not? I mean, there are other English whiskeys. Like it just, I don't know why that didn't make sense to me before. I don't know why I never thought that. Anywhere can make fucking whiskey. Pretty much anywhere can make fucking whiskey anyway. Anywhere. Yeah, so this one is aged, matured in sherry cask and then finished in Grand Cru champagne barrels. I don't really know much about this. This is relatively. I got this not too long ago and haven't taken as deep of a dive into it as I have most of the other ones. I mean, this one I got in like June or something like that. So I've had it for a while. So I've had time to look into it and study. Same with this. I've had this for a couple months now, few months. I don't know. But this one I got relatively recently. I do know that Rhiannon, the illustration, that is a horse goddess. Well, I'd have to get the cardboard tube to read you the story of it, but there is a story. There's mythology. It's based on Welsh mythology. So I think that's pretty cool. That's not why I it's not why I bought it. Partly because of the label, partly because of that. The story behind it. I love when a whiskey does that. I love it. But but mostly I like finishes, different cask finishes. Um, I don't think I've gone over percentages. This is 40%. This is 43%. This is 46%. It smells like red berries, like kind of like it almost has a cranberry kind of like if cranberries and raspberries. It's nutty. It's oaky. It's ashy. I always find that um, sherry finished things, sherry matured things, sherry anything. Most things, mostly except for sherry, oddly enough, has an ashy sort of a tone to it. Um, it's maybe sulfurous, slightly sulfurous. Um, Because when a sherry barrel is emptied, they will sometimes to kill any bacteria or anything or any unwanted bacteria that is in the sherry cask. They will tip it upside down and they will burn a sulfur candle, and the sulfur, you know, kills whatever those bacteria might be. Um, that could have something to do with it. So I don't know if that. Hmm. I wonder. But it's oaky, it's nutty, it's fruity. Mm. Well, palate, a little citrusy. Um, I glanced at the back of the bottle, the marzipan, the sweet marzipan. That definitely makes sense. Oh, hey, look, red berries. Hint of vanilla, oak tannins, red berries, black currants, hazelnuts, pears, sultanas. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know what sultanas are. Next up, we have the Glen Scotia Double Cask. This one is really good. This is quite a good whiskey. Definitely one of my favorite whiskeys. American oak and PX sherry are the is the maturations on that. Sorry, I usually don't drink this much whiskey. This is um, up to pour number 3. I usually have one in a night and I barely finish it. But it is New Year's Eve, and I just want to have some fun with you guys. Okay, so bear with me. But the reason, yes, I know the bottle is empty. I can see that. I didn't drink it all. It wasn't that good. So, well, okay, no, it is that good. If it was the only bottle of whiskey I had, then I would probably, it would be my daily sipper. But it's not. It's not the only one that I have. It's also right here in this lovely decanter that I brought up earlier. My pores are getting bigger. Funny that, hey? See, and if I don't know as much about a whiskey, I'm not going to babble about it. I'm not going to continue going on and on and on about, you know, this, that, and the other thing. I almost went into a long tangents about these because I did the deep dive into them. I did a review on them. When I want to share more of the information, when I get a whiskey, before I even open it, I usually dive in to the knowledge side. I usually find out not what I'm getting myself into, but the process. Like if it's not a single malt, let's say it's a bourbon. Learn the mash bill, learn the maturation process, learn basically everything that I can. And if it's a new whiskey from a distillery that I don't know about, then I learn about the distillery and I dive in and I give the whiskey the proper appreciation that it deserves, because a lot does go into it. Like it's not, sure, you can make a batch of whiskey with one or two people, but for it to come out great, for it to come out award-winning, for it to come out palatable, for it to change the way that people look at whiskey, to change people's views, in order for it to come out like that, it takes practice, I'm sure, it takes skill. It's not an easy process. There's a lot that goes into it. Again, back to that time and patience and all of that. But Glen Scotia Double Cask on the nose. Now, I'm led to believe that, or from what I understand, that maritime saltiness, the salinity, the light, it's a floral peatiness, a floral smokiness, that slight character, that's Glen Scotia character, that's just the character of the whiskey. Doesn't matter what expression from Glen Scotia. It's just it's good old Campbeltown. It's the Campbeltown whiskey. It's so much. Peaty, floral, earthy, sweet, it's nutty. Dark dried fruits and orchard fruits, like apples, pears, figs, dates, raisins. There's oakiness. Yep, I'm getting a caramel. I'm getting a little touch of caramel in there. No, you know what? That is a smoky, burnt caramel, like toasted caramel apple. A smoky toasted caramel apple. Served on a charred oak stick. So every bite that you take, you get a little bit of that charred oakiness in the bite, because you taste it because you can smell it. You taste what you smell, right? That distillery character, that Glen Scotia character, carries through on the palate. And the oakiness, the sweetness. It's not a, I can't pinpoint what kind of sweet it is, what the sweetness is, but it's wonderful. It's it's made so well. It is distilled and matured and perfected in a way that it's hard to pinpoint exact, and it's even hard to come up with a descriptor and just to kind of make shit up, because that's just how good of a whiskey it is. It's the complexity. The complexities, what makes it complex, is all married and intertwined. That is an experience. The Glen Scotia Double Cask, that is an experience. Okay, last but not least, we have Indri, Indian single malt. Well, Indri, we have their Drew expression. It's cask strength, sitting at a whopping 57.4, 57.2%. Stunning, stunning bottle, wonderful color of the whiskey. It really is a very good whiskey. The Indians really know what they're doing. I also didn't know that India made whiskey, but they're actually they're actually the largest whiskey producers in the world. They produce the most whiskey in the world. More than Scotland, more than America, more than Canada, more than Japan. They're the world leader in whiskey production. In quantity. They don't necessarily make they're not the world's most favorite, but they definitely make a lot of whiskey. But in the northern India, in the climate of northern India, the angel share that they lose is 10 to 12%, which is a lot. That is a lot to lose within a year. So not very high age statement stuff. I don't know exactly how long this is aged for. It's aged in, I believe, ex-bourbon. Bourbon oak barrels. Yeah. There's ex-bourbon barrels. But the Drew, that is a Sanskrit word. A Sanskrit word that translates to tree, wood, or vessel made of wood. And the Drew would be vessel made of wood that you would pour, that they would pour their alcohol, pour an alcoholic offering. Then it was soma. Soma is the alcohol that they would pour into the Drew and offer it to the gods. So this bottle is essentially an offering to the gods. It's a tropical citrus. It's oaky. There's spicy. It's so spicy. There's leather, there's tobacco, there's citrus, there's cinnamon and vanilla. Honey, a little honey, like honey and butterscotch. Somewhere in the glass there. It also has sort of that malty, it has a malty smell, but the sort of a straw hay, kind of barns and farms. Reminds me of barns and farms. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of Barns and Farms. This is what I do most of the time whenever I'm sitting on the couch watching TV or something like that. If I'm, just having a whiskey, I just sit there and do this. Sit there with the nose, because that's one of the things I enjoy most, actually, about whiskey, about having a whiskey, is the nose. That's hot. It's a fruity malted caramel. With slight chocolate, like a chocolate espresso undertone. That's weird. Citrusy and floral in the back there. On the back half of that. Interesting. Again, yeah. Transformative and wonderful and amazing. Yeah, chocolatey espresso, sort of a. That no, don't remember getting that before. So that's a new one. We did it. Yay! We got through the top 5 whiskeys of 2025. That was a lot of 5s. That was too many 5s. I could have thrown, a 2 or something in here for 2025, whatever. It's okay. Anyway, from everybody here at a whiskey thing, it's me. I'm the one here at a whiskey thing. Thank you for joining me. Happy New Year, and I hope that 2026 brings nothing but growth, transformation, maturity, experience, and I hope that it is full of everything that gives you meaning. Thank you for joining me.